Howdy, folks. How the heck y'all doing? Well, just want to have a little discussion about you guys as artists, um, songwriters, so on and so forth. Everybody seems to think that they need to move to Nashville, and I get that that's the big hub of country music, and that's where a lot of the writers and producers and all them guys go. But what I want to tell you is you don't need to move anywhere. If you live in Arizona, if you live in Podoke, Chodoke, you have, perfect example, you have YouTube Live, you have Facebook, you have Periscope, you have Busker. There's a million out live streaming apps where you can get yourself out there. You guys can do your own producing. You Most of y'all already do your own writing. Most of y'all do your own arranging. And then when you don't, then you go ask people who do. So, I mean, the need to move your demographics around isn't like it used to be. I mean, Nashville is no longer the center stage of country music. Neither, you've got a lot of it coming out of Texas. You For a while there, it was coming out of California. Some of it was coming out of New York, and New Jersey, and Pittsburgh area. I mean, with with the development of social media and the progressions they've made as far as streaming and interacting and your fan base. I mean, your fans are all over the world anyway. So, I mean, my main thing is you get a fan base where you're at, and then for whatever reasonings you decide that I need to go to Nashville, or I need to go to Texas, or I need to go to California. I can only speak for Florida. I can tell you there's no bigger music scene than down around the Miami, the 305, as far as pop and hip hop and um, even your Rastafarian music. Um, the culture down there, very, very Latin, big Latin presence, and Latin music is awesome down there. Um, Here around the state, I mean, we've got a bazillion different venues to fill. Um, I personally would like to see us go back to doing the outdoor stadium tours, not so much the indoor venues. I don't get why you got to do the indoor venue crap. I mean, it's a confined space. There's a bunch of restrictions. You know, you have issues or whatever. I mean, it is what it is. Whereas, I mean, I was used to going to, y'all wouldn't know it by the Tangerine Bowl. You'll know it by Camping World Center, I think it is now, the stadium down there. I grew up playing football there on my high school football team. It was called the Tangerine Bowl, later the Citrus Bowl, and now it's Camping World Stadium. So, and complex, I believe. So anyhow, um, you guys just need to think about where you want to go and what you want to do. Don't let somebody get in your ears and change your mind about what directions. I mean, you guys are the artist. You listen to your fans. You're giving them what they want to hear. I mean, When you get to the notoriety part of it, and then you start getting up and talking to record labels and other people and A&R people and so on and so forth like that, they're going to tell you what they need you to do to make them money. Okay? What you need to be doing and thinking about is sit down and make yourself out a plan. Schedule, whatever you want to call it. I call it a plan. Set yourself a plan, what goals you want to achieve, because you know you're not going to do anything unless you're Kelsey Ballerini who has a Taylor Swift shout out or something like that for the first 5 to 10 years. You're going to be struggling. You'll be making your brand. I mean, and the thing is with your brand, that's your brand. That's you. That's who you're going to be, and that's what you're going to be known by. And sometimes it's hard to change when you decide not to do that anymore. But anyhow, you don't have to jump through hoops for it. And once you've produced it, and once it's to what your liking is, whether you have to ask somebody for help or not, then you can distribute it yourself. You can distribute it up on the Spotify. You can distribute it onto iTunes. You can distribute it onto any of these digital medias that you want to. Because with the exception that vinyl's making a comeback, why, I don't know, and I get that people say vinyl sounds better than CDs, and I'll agree, it does. But digital, I mean, all you need is your laptop or your computer. I mean, you can do it all from your own home. You are your recording studio. You are your producer. You are your manager. And I get that some of y'all out there are younger and you have mom and dads who are doing the managing thing. But at some point in time, they're going to have to cut you loose and let you do your own thing and be on your own. So my thoughts would be sit down and make a plan, make some goals, what you want to achieve and how you want to achieve them, and quit listening to the Joe Schmo around the corner about, well, you need to be doing this and you need to be doing that. No, what you need to be doing is exactly what you are doing, making your fans and supporters happy. And I'll use a great example would be the Two Still Girls. I mean, Allison and Crystal, they had everybody in the world in their ear wanting to tell them, well, no, you need to do it like this. And you know what? They're like me. They're just good old country folk and will tell you, that's not the way it is. Because I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to tell you anything that I would think that would hurt anybody or anyone. I mean, and what I'm saying here is not hurting anybody or anyone other than maybe, some record label or whoever's trying to sign somebody. But, and that's not even hurting. That's actually helping you as the artist. I mean, the biggest thing I hear from some of the artists that I do know who have gotten tied into that is everybody has got their hand in their pocket. And that's not good. I mean, the artist, a lot of people out there don't understand what it takes, and I wouldn't have if I didn't have a really, really good friend of mine who has taken it upon themselves to hold me by the hand and walk me through step by step by step by step. Studio musicians, studio time. Then, as the artist, you have the production end of it if they're going to produce CDs and the covers and, photography and venue expenses and so on and so forth with that. That's, so that's where I feel we're at. I mean, um, you know, people don't understand that you have expenditures along with your equipment and your repair and transportation to and from shows and so on and so forth. Um, I mean, if you really thought about it, and I know not everybody has the ability to do this, I have a good enough size yard that I could hold one, but you as the artist, I mean, if you have a nice enough size place, you know, go out and talk to your neighbors and say, hey, how about we have a block party? Or how about, would you mind if I had a, a show out in my backyard or whatever? Be courteous to your neighbors and let them know what you're doing. I mean, you don't want to hack them off and obviously have the law called on you. And then, like me living in the frickin' city, you have to have a frickin' permit for everything. I wouldn't doubt I wouldn't have to have a permit for that. But I mean, you as the artist, if you're out in the country or something, especially if you live on a farm or something, put on your own concert. Invite people over. You can do pre-sales just like you do with the what's the thing online that a lot of y'all do? It's a show. I forget what it's called, but anyhow, um, $5. I mean, you do a pre-show, and that would help you with the cost of your setup. You know, provide some kind of refreshments and let them bring their own. Obviously, y'all know when you introduce alcohol into the equation, sometimes that gets iffy. So if you're obviously part of the younger crowd and all that, alcohol wouldn't be allowed. I'm assuming your mom and dads would not allow that, even for the adults. And that's not an all bad thing. But you know, have a cookout, barbecue, uh, autumn time bash, something, fall bash, summer bash, spring bash, winter bash, whatever you want to call it. I mean, you can do one for every season. But that gives you your exposure. Plus, I mean, a lot of you guys who have fans, a lot of them are local. So when you move away, we're unable to go, to those venues to go see you. I mean, my deal's a little bit different. I'm not able to go to a lot of different venues for, physical reasons, but that's it. That's my deal. I mean, that has nothing to do with anything. But, a lot of you guys get your fan base, and a lot of them are locally or state. They're within the state, and you travel the state, and they get used to 3-4 times a year they get to see you. I mean, 4, 5, 6, 7 times a year plus they get to see you. You get to open for acts or something. You get to play the festivals around the state, and the big shindigs and all that stuff. So, um, just something for y'all to think about. I mean, everybody wants to make everything so complicated, and it's really not. I mean, it's, as far as Nashville goes, I would say if you're a songwriter, that's probably one of the 3 top places to be. I mean, there's obviously other areas around the world that, all the songwriting's not done in one place. And then, but as an artist, if you feel that you need to move there, especially when like here, we're getting a Old Reds, here in Orlando. So, I mean, Blake Shelton's coming down here. So that will be probably our Bluebird. But, I mean, in the meantime, we've had a trove of other ones. Um, the Barn in Sanford, Cowboys. Um, what's the other one? It's a relatively new one, but I can't think of the name of it right now. But Bombshells, yeah. Um, then obviously we have the arena, and we have Camping World Sports Complex. Um, I mean, that's just around here. And in my younger days, we had a place that was called the FBI Fairbanks Inn. It was one of the few places around town. Well, actually, there was a lot of places around town, and that had live music. It was rock and roll, and that's why a lot of people went there. It was rock and roll. I used to go to the Cork Room, which was more country. There was Crown Lounge. I mean, now even around here, around my house. There's Will's Pub. There's the Social. There's probably 15 venues within walking distance of me. So the thing is as artists, and I know it's so on your mind that I want to make it in this industry, and I want to do well, and I want to be recognized, and I want to get out there, and I want to do this. You can still do all that right from the comfort of your own area, your own state. You don't need to go somewhere else to obtain that. I mean, the thing is you're willing to do all that, and then you get somebody who says, hey, I would like to sign you to such and such, contract for X amount of dollars, or to write songs, or to be a studio musician, or to do this, or be a main stage act, or be a producer. Who's that benefiting? Because I'm going to tell you who it's not benefiting is you, the artist, you, the producer, you, the songwriter. That's who it's not benefiting. Because they're going to recognize talent, and they do. You can go walk into any of them places. Walk into Sony's. Walk into Curbs. Walk into BMI. Walk into any one of those places who have an established area there. Talk to their people. If you can get them to talk honestly, they will tell you the do's and the don'ts, and the ups and the advantages and the disadvantages of working with places like that, especially with A&R people. If you can get I know this is a contradiction. If you can get an honest A&R person to talk to you, those are the ones that will tell you what's really happening and what's really going on. So I hope this gives you something to think about. I mean, do what you got to do. I mean, I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do. I'm just throwing out different suggestions and different ideas out there without, everyone thinking they have to go out and spend $5,000, $15,000, $200,000, $1 million. I mean, you're spending enough money taking care of your equipment and your travel expenses to get to and from venues that you're going to now. So, y'all have a great day, great week, and I will talk at y'all later, and we'll see you later. All right? Y'all be good. Once I figure out how to do this. Ha. That's nice. Woohoo! Later, taters.